First Take on a Tuesday. Stephen A. Smith, Max Kellerman. I'm Molly Karam. Gentlemen.
What's up, man?
Good morning.
Good to see you. How you doing?
I might be a little excited today. Just a little bit.
Well,
Robert De Niro.
the man. The
Bronx Tale, my favorite movie of all time.
Of all De Niro films, you bring up
Bronx Tale.
Listen, you say
You gotta
Bronx
check the
Tale.
door. Make
I gotta
sure your
tell
girl's
that,
legit.
you know, to me, and you know what, he's done obviously phenomenal work throughout his career, but stuff that he's done lately, I mean, just some of those movies that you wouldn't think. You know, whether it's Meet the Fockers, Meet the Parents,
all right, okay.
this Analyze, this and that.
What?
Of course,
You two,
Rachel
between
Bill,
you two.
But The Intern, I mean,
Oh, The Intern
I mean,
was
it was
so
wonderful.
good.
It was wonderful.
De Niro's here today.
Silver
You're
Linings
talking
Playbook
a Bronx
was so
Tale,
good.
which
I'm
is
just
fine.
telling-
You're
I'm
talking
just-
The Intern.
Fine.
I'm just telling
Tremendous.
you. I
How about
look,
Mean Streets, Taxi Driver, The Godfather Part 2, Once Upon a Time in America?
I got it,
Godfather
I got
Part
it, I got
2.
Heat.
Heat was good.
There's so
Heat
many.
was good.
He's
Him with
starring
Al
over
Pacino.
100
I thought he was a
films.
touch overrated to tell you.
Oh,
Really?
stop
Wow.
it. Tough
Wow.
critic.
Wow.
I like
Whatever.
1900. How do you like that? Bertolucci's 1900.
I can't talk to you right now. You said Heat was overrated. I can't talk to you
Little
right
bit.
now.
Anyway.
I can't talk to you right now.
A little bit, insulted him a little bit.
Whatever.
We are
Let's move
so
on.
Good fellas.
excited to have Robert De Niro here. He's going to talk about his new movie, Hands of Stone, so stay tuned for that. But we begin with the 88 Club. Madden 17 is out today. Dez Bryant isn't happy with his rating of 90, according to the Dallas Morning News. I play Madden. I love Madden. They would do me like that. Oh, my God. That is an insult. Like, why would you do that to me? How much I love y'all. Like, what? Not John Madden, because I love him. It's the developers. So the players are rated in more than 40 different categories and then put into a formula to predict how good they will be. So there are 7 wide receivers, as you can see right here, ahead of Dez in the ratings. Alshon, Larry, DeAndre Hopkins, A.J. Green, ODB, Julio Jones, and Antonio. I also want to point out, Max, Dez had a concussion yesterday in practice. Is Dez underrated?
Glad you call him ODB, by the way.
I do. I like that.
Because of old dirty people don't want to call him ODB.
I know,
no,
but I
it's
do.
excellent. Yes. Of course he's underrated. First of all, if you watch Dez Bryant, if he's on the field and a real quarterback is throwing him the ball, one of the reasons, Stephen A., he's so excited about Dak Prescott, because he's sitting there going, boy, if Tony Romo's not on the field, at least another guy, I get behind the defense, he can get me the ball. Because Dez will get behind the defense. Even when you cover Dez with a top corner, he can still get open. He's kind of always open. And to me, that's what separates the elite receivers from the 1A tier, right? They're like, you know, a bunch of really good receivers in the league. But Antonio Brown and Odell Beckham Jr. and Julio Jones and, yes, Dez Bryant, to me, are absolutely tier 1. Even if I put him 4th in that tier, and Cowboys fans put him 1st, of course, because they're Cowboys fans, he is an elite wideout. And to have Larry Fitzgerald ahead of Dez Bryant, that's just not common sense. Look, I know Fitzgerald's still a good fantasy receiver, and he's still a really good receiver, and he will be in the conversation for greatest hands in the history of the NFL, and the reports of his demise have been exaggerated over the last several seasons because he's still a really good NFL player, but he's basically a slot receiver. At this point in his career, he's a possession guy. He's running shallow and intermediate routes. He's not getting behind. He's not going, catching these big play catches. He's not a stretch vertical threat. That's just not Fitzgerald anymore. You can't really put him in the same category, let alone rated ahead of Dez Bryant. There's no team in the NFL where if both were available and healthy, they're taking Fitzgerald over Dez Bryant at this point. I'll give you someone else. Alshon Jeffrey. Alshon Jeffrey, I would put in tier 1A. I mean, he's an excellent receiver. But again, it's not like Alshon Jeffrey's open no matter what. I know he was targeted more than anyone. Part of that's Brandon Marshall's not on the team anymore. But it's just the eyeball test. Watch Dez. It's qualitatively different even than a guy like Alshon Jeffrey or Demaryius Thomas or Emmanuel Sanders, who are both, I think, in that upper tier. But you split targets on a team, all of a sudden, people don't perceive you the same way. But to put Fitzgerald, especially, but even also Alshon Jeffrey, ahead of Dez Bryant, assuming health, is ridiculous. Dez Bryant is an upper tier, first tier NFL receiver, and Fitzgerald, who's going to be in the Hall of Fame, I think he deserves to be one day, is simply not that anymore.
Antonio Brown, Julio Jones, automatically to me are at the top of the list. You look at a DeAndre Hopkins, he deserves some love. Alshon Jeffrey needs to stay healthy. I have a problem with how low Dez Bryant is rated. But let's not bloviate about him like he's the man, the myth, the legend. Let's be clear about something here. Obviously, he was hurt. But even before he was hurt last season, his best season was like 93 receptions. I'm looking at his numbers right now, Max. His best season was 2013, 93 receptions with 1,233 yards, even though he had 1,382 yards the year before in 2012. We're talking about Dez Bryant, 92, 93 receptions. We're talking about an Antonio Brown, 128, 136. We're talking about a Julio Jones, 136. We're talking about a DeAndre Hopkins that who was the quarterback last year? Brian Hoyer was throwing the football for the Houston Texans last year, and Lord knows how many others. The fact of the matter is you can't just look at numbers. You also have to look at potential in terms of what guys could do if indeed they had a quarterback, because when Dez Bryant was balling, he always had Tony Romo throwing him the football. Last year was the exception because Tony Romo was pretty much out. They were 1-11 without him. But if you look at Dez Bryant, there have been some questions about his route running. There has been some questions about his intelligence on the football field in terms of, a receiver knowing what to do, when to do it, how to do it. I'm not speaking about this because I'm not qualified to judge Dez Bryant that way. Let me be clear. But the NFL aficionados who have played the wide receiver position at a Hall of Fame level, whether it's a Chris Carter, whether it's a Jerry Rice, and the list goes on and on, okay? Or you got primetime Deion Sanders and others. You've got the playmaker Michael Irvin, who absolutely loves Dez Bryant. When you listen to people talk about him, there are some questions, and there's an amazing room for growth. They're looking at him right now, and they're saying, excuse me, what could he do? What could he bring to the table? Because there are some things that others have that he's lacking. Great hands. He's got good hands. Does he have great speed? No, he does not. Can he create separation like other guys? No, he cannot. The difference is he can catch the ball in coverage. Even when he's not open, it appears that he's open sometimes because he can go up and get it, and he deserves a lot of credit for that. But at the same time, there are things that he struggles to do. So when we look at it from that perspective, let's also take into consideration this reality. Dez Bryant has the luxury of having a massive offensive line, which is clearly the best in football, which made Darren McFadden look like an all-pro. Now you acquire Alfred Morris. You go out and draft Ezekiel Elliott. You're going to be running the football more effectively. Tony Romo is supposed to be healthy enough to quarterback for you. And when you look at it from that perspective, that opens a lot of things up for Dez Bryant as well that the others don't have at their disposal, whether it's because of Le'Veon Bell's suspension or the absence of a running game, particularly for the second half of the entire season for Julio Jones, or DeAndre Hopkins pretty much having to do it by his damn self because it's barely a running game because Arian Foster was out last year, and there's no passing game because you don't have a quarterback, and your offensive line was suspect too. All of these things people are working against, Dez Bryant doesn't have to work against. So we have to take that into consideration as well when we're judging a wideout. I've got mad love and respect for Dez Bryant. When I'm talking about the Cowboys, I'm talking about their delusional, horrible, worst in American history fan base, okay? I'm not talking about the players themselves. But even if I were talking about the players, I certainly would not be talking about Dez Bryant. I got mad love and respect for him. But when we talk, it don't sound like he should be top 3. We don't know that yet. Larry Fitzgerald, yes, he moved to
top 4, I said. And by the way, I forgot DeAndre Hopkins.
Right.
He absolutely deserves inclusion.
Okay, no problem.
Yep.
But when we talk about Larry Fitzgerald, moving to the slot is not a small thing. I mean, we thought Larry Fitzgerald was
Larry Fitzgerald or Dez Bryant?
And it depends on what you're asking them to do.
When?
It depends on what you're asking them to do.
No one is listening.
Time out.
Larry Legend coming off a good season.
You nor anyone else in America is in no position to use win as a category when you're mentioning the Cowboys. You do understand that, don't you?
I'm talking about Dez Bryant.
Okay, wait, I'm just saying.
Dez Bryant is a better receiver right now. He should be absolute. I can't even believe this is a conversation. I don't think it's controversial. Dez Bryant is better than Larry Fitzgerald right now. Larry Fitzgerald was a great top-tier wideout, top 3, top 5 throughout a lot of his career. He's moved into a second phase in his career where he's still retained amazing value because of his hands, et cetera, et cetera. But between Larry Fitzgerald and Dez Bryant, who's taking Fitzgerald?
No. Nobody's taking Fitzgerald if you're talking about a wideout. But But if you're talking about well, we disagree with it. That's why we're having the discussion about it, because we don't agree with Madden. But let's be clear about something with Larry Fitzgerald.
Alshon Jeffrey or Dez Bryant?
4 years. Well, don't give me Alshon Jeffrey. Get healthy. Get healthy. Be on the field first, okay? But when we think about, Larry Fitzgerald, let's think about this for a second. This guy was an elite wide receiver at one point in time in his career. Obviously, had lost a couple of steps. They moved him to the slot. that ability to transition to the slot. I don't think Dez could play the slot. Dez is considered somebody that runs a limited amount of routes.
Sure.
He's not considered somebody that can run just any route that has that level of versatility. Now, I'm not questioning, again, these are what the football aficionados say. If you don't play on the field, you got to defer to them. I can watch you, but I'm also going to defer to experts. And this is what I heard, doing NFL Sunday last year and knowing the cats in the business that I know. I'm talking about NFL players, okay? To guys that I talk to, they say, yo, Stephen A., this is what Dez Bryant is. He's a bad boy. He got talent. You got to respect, got to give him mad love and respect. But let's not act like he can just do anything. Dez Bryant is a limited route runner. He cannot play the slot. And by the way, his durability is now a question mark, which needs to be brought up as well.
But to bring up guys, I know we agree about Fitzgerald, but to have him rated ahead of Dez, it's like a guy who can't play corner anymore. He can still play safety very well, but then you got a shutdown corner. Dez is a wideout, is the equivalent of a shutdown corner. Now, sometimes shutdown corners get criticized. Oh, they don't want to tackle guys. I mean, Dion got criticized for that. They don't want to tackle guys. They don't do this. You look at the X's and O's, etc. But the thing they can do, which is cover a guy, they can do at such an elite level, they're still elite. Whatever you want to say about Dez, he is always open, and his ability to
That's not true. He's not always open.
Because even when he's not open, you can throw the ball in his direction. Chances are he's coming down with it.
Well, actually, you can't say chances are because it's not 128 to 136 receptions. It's 92, 93, 88 receptions. That's number one. Number two, they're running the ball most of the time. Number three, you and I both know Jason Witten is a huge target in the interior. So if you've got him between the seams, okay, and you're throwing the ball to Jason Witten, and you're running the ball effectively, and you've got all day. I mean, Tony Romo can stand back in the pocket, take pictures, call his wife, check on the kids and all of this stuff before he throws a damn pass because that's how much protection he's getting from that offensive line. Dez Bryant benefits from that. We haven't seen – what I'm asking you to do, Max, is this. Imagine Dez Bryant playing with Houston with Brian Hoyer throwing him the football.
Yeah,
Imagine Dez Bryant
he had struggles without a quarterback last year.
There we go.
Here's my question. We both take Antonio Brown over Dez.
Yes.
We both take Julio Jones. And I take Odell Beckham Jr. Do you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't. Who else do you take over Dez Bryant? That's all I'm saying. Who else do you take? Because Madden takes a lot of other guys.
I would say to you, DeAndre Hopkins. I would have.
Okay, I'll even go with that. Who else?
Let me just add
Dez at 5.
Okay, 5. That's okay too. But Fitzgerald, no. Alshon Jeffrey, no.
Larry Fitzgerald had 109 receptions last year, career high. So he's coming off a tremendous year.
Do you want Larry Fitzgerald or Dez Bryant?
No, I'm going with the man. I'm going with the man, Dez Bryant. But wait a minute.
Fitzgerald is one of my all-time favorites, the greatest hands, since Carter. But
but respect where they're coming from with all the other names you threw out. I got it.
Yep.
But respect where they're coming from with Larry Fitzgerald. 109 receptions, moving to the slot, playing with Carson
I'm
Palmer.
not arguing that doesn't have value. I prefaced it, but not as much value as Dez Bryant. Demaryius Thomas or Dez Bryant?
I'm saying you don't know.
Demaryius Thomas or Dez Bryant?
Not after last year. I'm not going with Demaryius. No.
Okay.
I'm going with Dez.
Okay, Emmanuel Sanders or Dez Bryant. All I know is I'm naming every good receiver in the league except for 3 for sure we have ahead of him, and Hopkins, arguably, that puts him in the top 5, tier 1.
But you're not giving me individuals and imagining them playing with Romo behind that offensive line and running game. You're just looking at their production. I'm saying put them in the same situation as you would put Dez and tell me what they would do.
I'm saying regardless, just take away the offensive line and all other variables. Do you want Dez Bryant on your team or Larry Fitzgerald today? Who do you want? Eliminate variables. The answer is Dez Bryant. Let me help you out with that.
For one season or for the rest of your career?
For right now, who do you want?
Well, at 5. At 5. Dez at 5.
Right, and they have him lower.